Okay, guys, we are live. It's Wednesday night, and we are fresh from a Champions League tasty, very, very tasty draw. Kellogg's cornflakes draw. That was just beautiful. And we're going to have a chat about the Chelsea game in the second part of the show because that's a huge game, of course. But the boys are with me tonight. Keith at Eaton Ryan on Twitter, the legend co-host, signed his contract, and Jack Mack, LFC. How are you feeling, lads?
Good.
I'm
happy.
Interesting group, that mate.
Well, we're going to have a look at them now in a minute, but our group is Group B? Liverpool, FC Porto, AC Milan, and our nemesis, Atletico Madrid. There's the group there, guys. If you can see him, get your glasses on. OMG. We'll go through all the groups and then we'll talk about our group. Obviously, Group A, it's a big oil money group. It's Manchester City, PSG, Leipzig, and Club Brugge. I can see the oil barons coming through there. Group B is us, of course, Atletico, FC Porto, and Milan. Group C, Sporting, Borussia Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas. That's a messy group. There's a few dodgy groups. Group D, Inter Real, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Sheriff of Tiraspol. Group B, we have Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, Dynamo Kiev. Group F, Villarreal. Oh, this is a handy one for United, I think. Villarreal, who beat them in the Europa Cup final, I suppose. Atalanta and Young Boys. They're an under-12 side they're playing. And then in Group G, it's Lille, French champions, Sevilla, FC Salzburg, and Wolfsburg. That's a fairly open group. Group H, the final group.
If Group A is the group of death, well then that's what the group of life or something is. It's the complete opposite. It's like fucking. It's like as piss easy groups go. That is so fucking piss easy, isn't it?
I think we're the group of fucking death. Jesus Christ! We have 15 European Cups in that group. Then we have Chelsea, European champions, Juve, Zenit, St. Petersburg, and the Swedish club Malmo. But our group, Keith. Quick word on our group. What do you think of our group? Tasty?
Yeah, it's tasty. It could have been. It feels like an old school Champions League group, doesn't it? It's just like it's almost like a bit of a throwback. It's listen. It could have been better, as I said to you, and it could have been worse. To be honest with you, if you're going to play Atletico Madrid, I'd much prefer to play them in the group stages than play them in the knockout with their track record against them. To be honest with you, so I'm not massively concerned. I think in a home and away leg, you know, when we don't have away goals in play, just playing the team in front of you, it's slightly different, to be honest with you. And I don't think Milan are the side they used to be in times gone past. We have a great track record against Porto, so to be honest with you, I'm not massively concerned about it. To be honest with you, I think we should be able to navigate it quite handily, to be honest. So
oh no, it has a nice nostalgic feel to it though, doesn't it? I mean, AC Milan, Liverpool, you know. Yeah, and then you put some great aways in there as well for the travelling cup. You know, you've got Madrid, Porto, and Milan. You know, so Italy, Spain, and Portugal. I mean, they're all
they're short trips. They're short trips as well. You know, so the away leg is a short trip. You know, you're a 2-hour flight near enough, pretty much for anywhere. So I think that's good as well. To be honest with you, it means when we get back, we'll get back nice and fresh. We're not going to Eastern Europe anywhere, or you know, or somewhere else. So to be honest with you, I'm all right with it. I'm absolutely all right with it, to be honest with you.
No. As Keith says, I mean, Jack. I mean, AC Milan. We all think of AC Milan. You know, the team. We beat 0-5. Well, they were a legendary team, I suppose, but they're not as legendary anymore. They're a very good young team, though, Jack. A good up and coming young team, and they won't be easy to beat. I mean, I remember United playing them last year. I think they should have hammered United. The amount of chances they had against United, and I think the only score was a 2 out of about 50 chances. So, I mean, they're not the team they were. FC Porto, we always seem to do well against, don't we?
Yeah, but I mean, and Porto shocked a couple of teams last year, obviously, with their running back at the late end of the Champions League. But as Keith's already alluded to, the running and everyone in chat, I think the overall consensus really is quite happy. But it will be a difficult tie, every single one of them. Jurgen Klopp, I think I just seen his little quotes before come on there. He done his classic Jurgen Klopp laugh in his quotes. He said, "I laughed loud," and was like, "Oh no," because he was. But yeah, you've got to beat the best to win this elite competition. We all know that, don't we? So, but yeah, I'm happy to see AC Milan back in the Champions League finally.
Few years they're out now, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been in the wilderness for a very long time, but we have missed them in Europe and Atletico Madrid. I'm happy that we're going to be having 2 games in the group. Especially if we do get into the latter stage of the competition and we do face them again, we'll know exactly how to play against them. I think Jurgen Klopp over 2 games we'll have enough. And when we did play them, I think not last year but the year before. Or last year, whatever it was, got so many years since we've been back in the stadium. But we battered them at Anfield. We just didn't take our chances, and I think we just do exactly what we've done in the home game anyway. And we should get top of the group, but it won't be easy, mate. But I'm excited, and I'm made up, which we'll discuss in a little second. Manchester City, the old Classico, that group.
Fuck them.
Yeah. I'm absolutely made up, mate. Yeah, just quickly look at that. I'm just so happy. Like they got really those 2, and obviously RB Leipzig. You class them as quite a rich team in Bundesliga anyway. So it's set up perfectly. And if City are to go crashing out of the Champions League, we'll all be made up. So up to Reds.
What are the group caught your eye, Keith? The PSG and City group with Leipzig.
That's the standout group. I suppose Barcelona group is tasty enough as well, isn't it? So that's a tasty group. So I think the 3 tastiest groups are A, B, and whatever group Barca are in. I think they obviously look to be the ones that have the most kind of glamour ties in the group stage. The rest of them are a bit meh. But listen, just get out of your group and get into the next stage. I don't think there's a massive amount, in terms of the top 6, 7 teams, maybe 8 teams in Europe. There's not a huge amount of things between them, to be honest with you. I think the big thing will be the removal of the away goals rule this year. Is probably going to be huge. Probably going to be the big thing, to be honest with you. It'd be really interesting to see how teams approach games. In terms of the legs, we could see a lot more open football. You could transversely, you could see a lot of more cagey type football. Teams looking to just kind of get, nick something away or get a low score and then go for it at home. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what way that pans out. But I'm generally happy with it, to be honest with you. I think Anfield will be rocking for particularly for Milan and particularly for Atletico. So I think that'll be great. And if we get three wins, you're pretty much there. You're looking at then picking up a couple of draws away from home or 1 win away from home, and that should have you right the way through. Are Porto going to be the whipping boys in the group where everybody beats them? You know what I mean? So you don't know. But I would fancy us to win all of our home games well with fans in the stadium. And then we'll pick up 1 or 2 away, to be honest with you, results the way we play away from home. So I don't think there's anything there that we're going to fear. I don't think there's anything there the players are going to fear. And I think we'll probably approach all games very positively, to be honest with you. So I've no real concerns. Listen, it's not going to be easy. Fuck, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, to be honest with you. But if we approach the games in the right manner, which I'm sure we will do, and the fans in the stadium, I think we will get what we. We'll get what we need to get out of that group, to be honest with you. And I'd be disappointed if we didn't top it.
As you said, Keith, every one of those games, there's no dead rubber in there. There's no real dead rubber. I mean, even FC Porto away, you're in Portugal, AC Milan at San Siro, and you've Atletico in their new stadium, whatever you call it, the one from Parlament. Yeah, you were there. You were at the final in 2019, of course. But there's no, the lovely games. It really is a tasty draw.
We've got a good record. We've a good. I suppose we've played there and won there as well as a team. To be honest with you, with a lot of the players who will probably start. So we've got that. We're not going anywhere. That's we've been to Porto recently a couple of times and got great results there as well. So I don't think we played Milan in a long time there. So that's
a long time.
Yeah, but listen, those lads have been there. We've been all around Europe. We've won all around Europe. We've been at the top table. We've been to a couple of finals with that same group, or a lot of those players. I don't think there's going to be any fear for our boys there.
That's a massive point that you picked up on, Keith. You spot on. The travelling is a massive impact, and Jurgen Klopp's spoken about it in the past. I'm just happy we didn't get Shakhtar, because obviously Ukraine's quite far to go, and you're not really going. And you combine that with if we are getting into later competitions. Whether we take whatever happens this season in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup anyway, if we are in the deeper in those competitions, then the balancing does get tricky. But we're going around Europe, aren't we, with our fixtures and 2-hour flights, and I think Jurgen Klopp will, probably an hour if we're on private jets, quite quick, straight into the airport, in and out, and then back to Anfield. But that's a massive point, great point to pick on, mate, because I think Jurgen Klopp and the technical staff will be very much focusing on that as well.
Particularly in terms of what we have. I haven't seen the fixtures now in terms of who we play directly after that. I know the fixtures have come out, I suppose, in terms of match day 1, match day 2, etc. But, I haven't really taken a look at who we play, straight afterwards, to be honest with you, whether we're home or whether we're away the weekend. I haven't looked at that yet. I'll take a look at that now afterwards. But
I'm sure Klopp's technical staff are on it right now. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm just delighted with that draw. It's not easy, as Keith said. It could have been worse and it could have been slightly easier. But I mean, it is the Champions League. Expect anything. It's the top tournament, isn't it? It's where you want to be. And I'm just glad. I'm just glad we're in the
after all the videos it was free done last year, and we're like, oh, come on. After that 6 run of defeats at Anfield, but the 2 men that we have to give shout outs to, well, they're quite young anyway, but they are
Nat Phillips and Reece Williams.
Those 2 in particular, those 2 deserve a massive pay rise, especially if we do go on to win our number 7s this year anyway. But those 2, whatever happens with Nat, but they played a massive part, and considering how all the videos we've done after the post-match boys, we were in a dark place after covering those defeats anyway. But those 2 deserve huge plaudits, and I think they will have a massive impact this year in the Champions League and the Prem as well, if you do stick around anyway.
Did you guys think, looking at that draw there now, and it is a quite tough draw, I'm saying, right, we've got that. The transfer window closes in 6 days. Yesterday, next week. So next Tuesday, I still think, before we get on to the big Chelsea chat, I still think there's one coming in. I just think there's a little sneaky one coming in. I seen Anfield Wrapped did a video earlier on it. They seem to think there might be just one,
It's if City do act and they somehow do get Ronaldo, there's no way Jurgen and everyone in the backroom staff, and don't get me wrong, Jurgen will never publicly come out and say, I trust these players, very capable and all that, but Liverpool have to react, whether they are forced to or whether we had already pre-anticipated these moves in the window. Because City, if they do sign Ronaldo, regardless of, he didn't have a bad season last year, but he will massively improve that Manchester City squad. And if Liverpool do get crippled with injuries next season, a player of that ability just raises the expectation and raises the quality. City, Chelsea brought in Lukaku, and obviously they got a lot of great players. And we've got an amazing squad, 1 to 11, but I think Jurgen Klopp probably will, not that they'll be scared, and they'd never probably say it, and we're not scared if City did go on and get Ronaldo, but we can't allow ourselves to sit there and go, we've got to react in a certain way, whether that's positively or we need to react if City do go out and get Ronaldo. I don't think they will, but if they do, then that's a massive positive.
It's going to be an interesting 6 days. And
it is. Listen, I don't think the club will be making any decisions in terms of recruitment off the back of what anybody else does. I just don't think they do. I think we've got our own plans in terms of what we want to do, in terms of where the club or Klopp feels the shortcomings are, and decisions will be made around that. I think they've done a huge amount of work in signing up some of the key assets. I suppose we'd love to see Mo sorted out with all this shit going on with players going left, right, and centre. To be honest with you, I just love to see that done, because there's nothing to say somebody doesn't come in with something fucking ridiculous like off the back of Mbappe going one way. So I'd love to see all that done, to be honest with you. And if somebody comes in, it's probably going to be a squad improvement player, as opposed, in other words, a good 1 to 16, a player who will impact 1 to 16 or 1 to 15, as opposed to somebody who comes in and dislodges anybody else, or somebody who can come in as a willing deputy. I can't see how anybody of really high caliber doesn't get whispered at this stage. Somebody who doesn't get a whiff of it. It's too small an industry or a market. If somebody does come in, it could be a surprise, like a Jota.
Like a Jota,
or Fabinho. Now, listen, those guys came in and they're starting. They're starting players. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be I think it's probably going to be somebody that's been scouted very well and will come in, and it looks like they're going to be maybe not a project player, but certainly somebody who can come in and certainly do a job and has the potential to be world class. We could do something like that. But you
mean a typical FSG signing, basically?
Yeah,
That's what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's it.
I do. And it could come in fairly late in the window, to be honest with you. But I don't think we would react, and I don't think Klopp is the type to react to whatever else is going on in the marketplace, because I think he thinks it's fucking basket case villain anyway, to be honest with you. Some of the shit that's going in there, it's ridiculous. It's mental. Shit. You know, it almost feels like it's just money being washed around from the big clubs. You know, 130 here, 120 there, 100 there. You know, that kind of stuff. It just feels like laundry. It feels like, you know,
horrible
money laundering.
Horrible,
you know, laundry
horrible. Yeah,
with human beings. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. My only concern, and I know this is probably off topic for the moment, and my only concern is hitting a drought like we did last year with pretty much all of our striking options.
Not
scoring, nobody contributing. Right now, we've started off well. We've had Mane in the goals, Jota in the goals, Bobby in the goals, and we've had all the boys in the goals over the first 2 games. Right, so there's nothing really to back up my paranoia. Let's just say
it's a long season, Keith. It's a long
season, and we've seen stages over the last 2 seasons whereby there's been droughts with the 3 boys up front. So if we can keep them in the goals, we don't need it, I don't think, to be honest with you, because as we discussed on one of the last pods, our central midfield players are not there to score goals. They're not really even there to assist goals, to be honest with you. They're there to do specific jobs around the middle of the park, which is mostly around harrying, closing down, you know, filling in for space when the 2 boys go forward from the wings, you know, and turning over possession, you know, and protection, and they do it brilliantly, right? And that's what they're there for, right? So you know, if we can still start generating the same amount of assists, and the boys keep it in the goals, and when we look at it over the last 2 games, Norwich didn't play with a low block, and Burnley for both of our goals were very un-Burnley like. So we got in, you know what I mean? Like Jota getting in to score that goal is very un-Burnley like, and how we cut them open with Tarkowski, fucking, I don't know where he was for that goal, but the way we cut them open Mane's goal is very un-Burnley like, you know. So we're going to come up against teams with low blocks, and we have, I suppose, last season
comes down to having a good bench, though. It comes down to having options on the bench when you have teams like that with 20 minutes to go and it's 0-0. You know what I mean?
It's Bobby, isn't it? That's the option at the moment in terms of getting a goal. You know, so that is the option. Does that leave us a little bit light? I think it might leave us a little bit light, to be honest with you, over the full length of the season. So I think we're well set for midfielders. I think particularly with Harvey Elliott, after stepping up the way he is, he can play in a multitude of roles. Yeah. Right, and Jones to come back in as well. Obviously, he's going to feel under a bit of pressure from Harvey, so I would expect him to up his game as well from that perspective. So I think we are all right, pending a fucking catastrophe in the middle of the park in terms of our midfield. Yeah, and we're well covered. We're well covered for centre halves as well, to be honest with you. So my only area I think we might look to improve would be up front, right? If we do something, and there's not that many of them around, lads. So it'll be probably somebody in from left field if we are to do anything. Yeah. Sorry, rant over.
You're okay. Just before we move on to the big game of the weekend, if people didn't forget, we're playing Chelsea, European champions, at Anfield on Saturday. So that is a huge game. Both 2 wins out of 2. Finners, drop us a like, helps the video trend, grows Dave's awesome content channel. Always drop a like, guys. It's so important. It gets more people in on the algorithm on YouTube. And you know the way YouTube works. Thank you very much for that, Finners. Okay, guys, the big one the weekend, 5:30 Saturday. Liverpool, Chelsea, it's going to be a packed Anfield, guys. It's going to be unbelievable. We've both got 2 wins out of 2. Both look good. Both look comfortable. But listen, Chelsea or Liverpool could lose this game. I don't think the season's over because they lose this game. But certainly winning it gives you a little bit of impetus, gives you a little bit of, I think, of a catalyst, especially when you've got a breakdown, an international break. And it would be nice to finish the little tree, you know, getting that win. What do you think, Jack? What do you think for the game Saturday? Do you think it's a win at all costs, or?
Not really. It gives you a good boost going into the running, really. I think when the fixtures did get released, though, I was confident. I said to myself, and I'm pretty sure Jürgen and everything going to use Reds as well around the world, said it. 15 points from a possible 15. That's what Liverpool have to aim for. We have to get 3 points from every single game coming into next season, the end of this season, really. We've got to be positive, and I've seen a lot of positives for Chelsea, and you understand from where their fans are coming from. Just signed Romelu Lukaku. A big aspect of what was missing last year was that impetus and that man just between the sticks. Timo Werner was deeply disappointing. That didn't have that desired impact in which they expected. I'm intrigued to see how Van Dijk and Lukaku do come up against each other. Obviously, we've played Lukaku when he was at Manchester United, and Van Dijk dealt with him well, but he's in a completely different setup now at Chelsea. The whole squad is very much catered in a good way around them to get the best out of Romelu Lukaku. Wing backs, Reece James. I'm intrigued to see how both sides come at each other, whether Chelsea do soak up pressure, allow Liverpool time on the ball and hit us on the break. But both full-backs in Liverpool and Chelsea will be massively pushed up. We see the impact Reece James had against Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, it's Arsenal's defence. And Mari, or whatever his name is, I think my little niece could have defended Lukaku a lot better in the box at the weekend than him. But it's an intriguing battle, and I'm really excited to see how this does unfold.
Yeah, Keith, I see Eamon Kelly put a must-not-lose game. I suppose a draw wouldn't be the end of the world either, but I just think a win sends out a nice little bit of a confidence booster, doesn't it, at Anfield?
I think the way we approach the game, to be honest with you, will be interesting. To be honest, I think if we kind of like when we look at it, we haven't really been up against a huge amount, to be honest with you, and I don't think we've really got out of first gear in the last two games. So I would love to see that the Liverpool team of 2 seasons ago come out and absolutely fucking blitzkrieg them, right? And just from the start, just literally tear into them. The way we approached all of these big games, over the last, certainly not last season, but the 2 previous seasons before that, if you come to our park, this is what you're going to get, and you're going to get hell for 90 minutes. You're not going to get 5 minutes you're not going to get 5 seconds on the ball. There's going to be somebody on top of you. You're going to make mistakes, and we're going to punish you. And I'd love to see that red team turn up Saturday evening and do that. I think if it's a bit of a tactical, cagey game, I think that gives the impetus to Chelsea, to be honest with you, and they've come out on top. Certainly against City towards the tail end of last season in those kind of games, but a Saturday afternoon kickoff, I don't think we'll have any choice but to absolutely tear into them, to be honest with you. And if we bring that, I don't think they'll be used to it. They don't have a great record against us. But they generally don't travel well to Anfield, particularly on a Saturday evening. They're not going to be relishing the prospect of doing that. So I think we need to approach it that way, to be honest with you, and literally tear into them. And if we can do that, it puts some marker down, doesn't it? It puts down some marker. But I also think if we approach the game that way and they nick something, okay, it's not the end of the world. But if they come to Anfield and we don't bring that and they manage to dominate, right, as they did last season, right, which they did for large spells, didn't they? They played very well against us. I think that'll put a lot more doubt in people's minds. But I think if we actually go there, put it up to them, really go for the jugular with them, and they get something like a draw out of it, well then at least we know we brought our A game, to be honest with you. So I think we hold all the aces. I don't think if we bring that, they can do an awful lot, to be honest with you, to counteract it. I think we'll absolutely annihilate them, to be honest with you. We might not score a huge amount of goals, but we'll annihilate them in terms of our possession, in terms of our territory, and in terms of good ball. So if we approach it like that, I think we should come out on the right side of a result. But I think if we step off them and stand off them at all and try and play nice football, cagey kind of football with them, well then, they've shown in the past that they're well able to grind out results. So that would be my.
Go on. Sorry, come on, Jack. Go on.
Yeah, it was just a midfield battle. I'd be intrigued whether I think we might see Fabinho come into this game. Really, I know Kante hasn't been playing. I think he's been injured the last couple of weeks, but. Whether Kovacic, Mason Mount, whoever plays in midfield, like Keith alluded to before, the intensity of these games are very prominent. We'll just get in front of them. It'd be interesting. We'll probably discuss the lineup a bit later, but Henderson will James Milner play? I think he will. It's important to set that tempo, but the game, as always in big games, are very much won in the midfield. As much as we can talk about the attacking players on both sides, but I think if Liverpool can get it right, as Keith alluded to, the intensity from the middle of the park will very set precedent, really. Yeah.
I think it's important for us to lay down a marker, even though it's early. It's only 3 games in. I think for Liverpool, the season we had last year, we've got to wipe that away with a big performance. This is a big game now. This is a big game for us. It's at Anfield. You're against one of the pretenders for the league. Let's be fair. They're a top 4 team. They're European champions as well. We cannot forget that. And they have a really good squad. So for me, we go at them like we did. We used to go at City when City come to Anfield. You know that way when we beat them 3-0 and we were going for the league that season. We go at them early, and I don't want to see any regrets or anything left on the pitch or regrets at the end. Why didn't we start him? Why didn't we get in from the first 10, 15? Just go for them for the full 90. As the gang, what we used to call a heavy metal football club used to say, just lash into them and see where we are. You know what I mean? Don't want to leave yourself too
the crowd
open.
as well, Dave, innit? It's the first proper big game.
First proper. I'm telling you, they're going to be baying. They're going to be baying for blood. Are you crazy? You know, Chelsea. I wouldn't even mention the game last season. Last season is a distant bleeding memory for me because we were absolutely shite.
Even the end won at Anfield.
No, but I mean, they had a terrible record up to that. I know they beat us in the League Cup and stuff, Mickey Mouse Cup. I don't care about that. But like the European Cup I'm talking about, the Premier League I'm talking about, I think I'm confident we picked the right team. As you said, as Keith says, if Klopp lets us at them and we rock into them early, I think we'll win the game. I just think I'm not saying it's as simple as that, but you know what I mean.
No, but I think games against those 3 other teams, you know, the potential top 4s. I think the games around could be pivotal, to be honest with you. You know, and particularly unless United really change how they've approached these games, generally, you know, they've generally been happy enough to get a bit of a draw, you know, and just beat everybody else. I don't think that's going to be anywhere near good enough for top 2 this year, to be honest with you. I think you need to be beating the teams around you. We'll need to be beating Chelsea at home. We need to be beating City at home. We need to be beating United at home, Leicester at home. We need to be beating these teams at home. And then I think somebody else has said there, you know, and then maybe pick up a couple of draws at these grounds when we're going around. But I do think your home form against your nearest rivals is going to be pivotal, to be honest with you. As you said, sit down the marker, keep the momentum going. But what I'm really looking forward to seeing, can this team replicate, you know, the madness that we brought to the league 2 seasons ago and the season before that, you know, in these big games whereby you sat back after 15 minutes and you relaxed and you enjoyed the football because you went, you know what, they're not going to be able to live with us. They're not going to be able to live with us for 90 minutes, this team, to be honest with you. They're going to be 25, 30 minutes in looking at their fucking watch going, Jesus, blow this up and let me out of here, will you? You know, and that's what we need to bring. That's what we need to bring the weekend, you know. And I'm confident we will because we haven't seen it in so long. And I think the fans will demand it. I think the manager will demand it. And I think the players themselves will want to show that off as well, you know. So the lineup will be important, to be honest with you. But we
go into the lineup now, actually, straight in. We lead us nicely into the lineup because we're not going to stay on much longer. I mean, another 5 or 10 minutes. So the lineup for me, I mean, the back 5, I think is going to stay. Now, the question is whether Robbo plays instead of Tsimikas. I have a feeling. I think Robbo plays, even though I said in the podcast about 2 or 3 days ago, Tsimikas has done nothing wrong, but I don't think sentimentality or anything like that comes into it. I just think you pick your strongest players, you pick the players you trust, you pick the players who've done well in other games against Chelsea, basically. And we know Robbo has. So I think Alisson,
his intensity,
and his intensity as well. Yeah.
I think the intensity he brings, to be honest with you, in the big games, you know, the big game against City a couple of seasons ago, against Barcelona, you know, so he knows what he needs to bring for this particular tie. So I think that's why he edges it over Tsimikas. He's done nothing wrong, Tsimikas, to be honest with you. He's been fantastic, brilliant, you know, and an assist as well. And we haven't had you know, assists from Robbo were few and far between last year. So he's hit the ground running, but just for his intensity, just for his knowledge of these particular games, and just his understanding of what he needs to bring, you know, to get other players around him up. I think if he's fit enough, he should start for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think the back 5 basically, Jack. I mean, it's Alisson, it's Van Dijk and Matip, and it's Trent and Robbo right now.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. He's spot on there as well. Reece James, I've seen him absolutely torture Arsenal's left-hand side, and I think even if Robbo is 50% fit, as good as Tsimikas has been in recent times, it's a different kettle of fish when you come up against the elite sides that Chelsea are. We've seen them in Europe last year, but I think they'll be heavily identifying Liverpool's left-hand side. If Tsimikas is playing, I think a lot of their training regime all week will be attacks down that Liverpool's left and obviously Chelsea's right. But I think, even Robbo 50% has to start.
The big key is midfield, guys. I think, as Jack, I think you said earlier, I think the midfield could win this game. Certainly make you not lose the game. Does a bit of both. So what does he do? I think Fabinho, I know his dad passed away. I think Fabinho's trained this week, so I think Fabinho starts. I really do. I think Henderson starts because he's club captain. And if you've Henderson and Fabinho starting on the pitch, that'll give the bloody crowd a lift, never mind anything else. The question is the third player. Does Naby continue? And I think he does, and I'll tell you why. He needs games. And he's not, and he's fit. He needs a run of games. I'd start Hendo, Fab, and Keita. Although there's not as much, ingenuity in there. There's a lot of grafting. What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, that's the way I would start it, to be honest with you. Obviously, Elliott's done nothing wrong in his last match, and he was fantastic, to be honest with you. But Henderson, for his leadership, obviously, and he's going to have the whole team firing from that perspective. Obviously, Fabinho, because I think we'll have a lot of the ball, to be honest with you, and Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea will come out to play football because they know they'll be beaten. They'll probably be cagey. They'll probably sit in a little bit as much as they can. They look to protect and then look to spring, right? So I think the retention of football, and I think to have that extra security with Fabinho just sitting in front of the back four to stop that, I think gives us a great platform to go forward. And then we need one of those players, I suppose, to add, at least to break the lines, I'm not too sure who else other than Keita we have at the moment to be able to do that. So that would be the trio to play in midfield, to be honest with you, from my perspective.
Jack?
So in the back of my mind saying Milner or even Ox. For some reason, something's just coming to my head. Scenes when Ox just bangs one from the edge of the box. But Ox just, for some reason, I don't think he will start, but it's creeping to the back of my mind. But I'll take a screamer, a winner against Chelsea this weekend. But go ahead, Keith.
No. Sorry. Just the only thing about that, apart from, he would have started the last match. He would have started the last match. Only for, I suppose, the birth of his child, to be honest with you. So, he was in before Elliott. So, it could be back in Klopp's thinking to get him back in, to be honest with you, and put him in for that Keita role. But I just think in terms of maintaining the ball, right? And I think Ox is good, in moments in games to get on the ball, and he has that shot in him, but I don't think he's in the game enough over 90 minutes over Keita, whereas Keita will constantly be in the game. He'll be getting involved. He'll be turning over the ball. He'll be putting in some challenges. He'll keep the momentum, and he's good. He's good at turning over in transition as well to put us in. So I think he edges it for me, to be honest with you, just on those points alone.
So I go with Hendo, Fab and Naby. So I go with Naby. Yeah,
we're all going for that one. But and the other thing, of course, is up front. Salah, Jota, Mane have done unbelievable, and Bobby has done job off the bench. Now I heard a lot of podcasts talking about Bobby must start. He has to start and all this. I'd start with Jota, Mane, Salah, and just have Bobby off the bench again.
I was on everyone's show last week. I was like, we're starting with Jota. And I think a lot of people are going with Firmino. I'd go with Jota again, mate. He gets you goals, and don't get me wrong, Bobby's great to come off the bench, and there'll be massive games when Bobby's needed. But for me, you can't drop a man when he's scoring goals. I know Bobby's scoring goals as well, but for the moments in big games, you need Jota in between the 6-yard box. If that ball gets flashed across, the one man, or even in the air, you want is Jota.
His movement for the first goal against Burnley, for me is enough to keep him in there. To get to do that his movement for that goal, his timing of the run was just out of this world against against those two boys who love that kind of ball into the box. They eat it up. You know,
I don't like saying it, but that movement, if you look at it, and he's same size and stature, was like Fowler. What Fowler used to do, running behind the centre half. The ball's coming in, and he actually runs behind, right in front, and he just nips it. Beautiful finish.
Yeah, but he takes a couple of steps back as well. So he looks like he's backing off, and they're going right. It's not going to, and then he just moves. Great timing in and around, and a super header. So I think he starts for me, to be honest with you. Now listen, I think Bobby will be great coming off the bench as well. To be honest with you, I think he has to start. I think he starts, to be honest with you. Yeah, and I'd be happy enough with that, So, and that's some as Paul has just said there. We've a decent bench at the moment.
Yeah,
we've a bench that can affect a game of football, which we haven't had in 2 seasons. When you think about it,
it's all about options. It's all options, Keith.
Yeah,
it's all options, and we have a few. I'd like 1 or 2 more options to come in this side next week, but. Even if they don't, I still just think it's still the injury thing. It's still for me. Look at the size of Chelsea, even United, City. It's still the size of the squad. The spine of the squad has to stay fit for me. It really does, for most of the season for us to win the league this year. And I think when Saturday's game could go a long way towards saying what's going to happen, because then there's a break. It just gives us that impetus. So I'm going to go 2-0 for the Reds. I'm really confident we beat Chelsea the weekend. You boys are confident. We're going to finish up now in a minute. What do you think, Keith? You going to go to 2-0 or 2-1?
No, I think they might score, to be honest with you. I think they might score. I think we've seen enough over the last 2 games to think we're not necessarily rock solid. I think they'll score 1. They could score 2, but I think we're going to score more than them, right?
Whoa.
So maybe I'm going to go for 3-1, to be honest with you. I'm going to go for 3-1. All the boys up front scoring a goal. And them potentially getting a consolation goal through Lukaku.
Yeah, and Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, concur. Sorry, not with Keith tonight. I'm having my being it's not a bevy. But yeah, I'd go with 3-1 scoreline as well, mate.
Wow,
we just absolutely wiped them, because I can understand. Yeah, the performance we needed, don't we? And don't be wrong, Chelsea squad is fantastic, phenomenal squads, and Tuchel's a great manager. But a lot of people have been putting Chelsea up there, and rightly so. But as we were speaking pre-season overs, it's like Liverpool. They haven't watched this Liverpool side. If we all stay fully fit this season, Liverpool will be up there. Like it's like Liverpool have stopped playing football. Like we haven't watched Liverpool over the last 3-4 seasons and seen the fantastic football. Don't get me wrong, we didn't have the best season last year, but we had 20-odd partnerships at the back, and we still finished third, 5 or 6 points behind United. So
and that run of 10 games at the tail end of the season is something you carry into the next. So that's the metal of the side. So and all the pundits are basing their predictions off the back of who spent money, pretty much. And
which is bullshit.
It's either based off people they bought or people they're going to buy, to be honest with you, and that's all that was based off. So it is bullshit. But listen, I'm more than happy to be written off as
underdogs. Underdogs. Couldn't care less about it. Just before we go, a quick word on Lukaku. Anybody worried?
No, I'm giving him the scores of the weekend. Sounds. Yeah. But they'll probably sell him.
Listen, he's a good player. Probably sell him. He's a good player. He will give you problems. I think VVD and Matip will take him out. That's what I think.
Yeah. They're going to love it. They're going to relish that. They're going to relish coming up against him, to be honest with you. Now I think, listen, it's not just through Lukaku. They score goals from different ways, to be honest with you. From all over the pitch. So I'm not just saying we need to worry about Lukaku, and if we keep him quiet, we keep Chelsea quiet. I think Kai Havertz is going to be a superstar, to be honest with you, when he just gets a good run. And he'd be my danger man in terms of his movement to get into the box. If we don't keep an eye on him and just focus in on Lukaku, listen, we're not going to do that. But for me, it's all about the performance. If we turn up and we bring our A game right and we bring the intensity on Saturday afternoon, I don't think they're going to be able to stick with us, to be honest with you. And I think they'll get pissed off very quickly and go, right, we're in for one here, And that's what you want to do, to be honest with you. So if we do that, we're going to be all right. But it's all about the performance and the attitude and what we bring Saturday evening. So.
It'd be a massive shock to the system, all these pundits going, if Liverpool do have that desired impact, which we all anticipate, if Liverpool just wipe the floor with them, say like 4-5-0 and go, whoa.
Well, relax. I just want 3 points.
I'll take a 1-0 game, but I'm getting a bit too overcome.
Okay, guys, I think we leave it there. That was an unbelievable show. Keto has to go. Thank you very much in the comments. Liverpool, Champions League, what a draw. Big game Saturday, guys. Cheers in the comments. Jack, Keith.
See you soon, lads. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Jack has to run. Oh,
no.
We're still live. We stay for a minute.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Keith had to run there. I just wanted to say before we go, obviously, thanks to Keith. We'll talk to him again. The weekend, huge. What's the European draw, Champions League draw, of course, FC Porto, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan. Very tasty, Jack. It's like Christmas at the moment for Liverpool. And a big proper. It'd be under the lights, 5:30 Saturday, packed Anfield. It is really like Christmas Eve, my friend. I'm happy. You're happy. Final word to Jack Mack, LFC.
Yeah, let's have it, boys and girls around the world. Come on, let's absolutely batter Chelsea. Won't be an easy game, but this Liverpool team is up for it this year. Let's go.
Yeah, we're ready to rock. Guys, stay safe. A lot more content to come from me and Jack and Keith. I might even do a little show tomorrow night, a little pre-Christmas Eve show for the Chelsea game, of course. And I'm confident we'll beat them. Let's go. This